Okay, so let's start off really quick with the tools that I think you should use. And these are just recommendations. You don't need to use them, but highly recommend that you use them, all right? Because we're going over pencil shading for the most part. That's what the lesson, the course is on. So right off the bat, I like to use anything in the B range, right? This is graphite. You can buy them in boxes and cases with a bunch of different, shades. You will sometimes need to use more than one. The only time I use a lot of them, like if I go up to 4B and 5B and 6B, is honestly if I'm doing like a long drawing study, like a very long drawing study. But in general, I honestly don't think they're that necessary. I know a lot of people disagree with me, but I don't really think they're necessary. I think you can just use one. I like using a 2B or sometimes anywhere like in a 4B range. You can use B as well. Something else that I personally use, also here's the sharpener, of course. I like this little travel one, and eraser. Let's talk about that really quick. The eraser I use is a kneaded eraser. In my opinion, that's the best eraser you can ever use. I don't know why anybody uses any other eraser. This is so much better than like the gum erasers or any of the pink erasers that stain the paper. This is so good. I love it. You can squish it around and you can mold it into the shape that you want, and then you can start like erasing strategically. It's so perfect, and they last forever. They usually come like in little blocks. Absolutely, and they're super cheap. So get those at any, like Michael's, any art store you can get them. Same thing with this, art store, Michael's, anywhere. They're very available everywhere. Something else that I like to do as well that a lot of people don't talk about is I like to use this. It's like a Prismacolor, but a black, right? And I think the only issue is it's very hard to erase. It's more or less a colored pencil, but I like it. It gives it a very finished look. And I think I do recommend this maybe after you got like more of a handle on it. But the 2B right there, see how it's much less dark? Oh, that's the B actually. It erases pretty easily. And there is a limit to it, so you do have to be careful. There is a limit to how much you can erase this stuff. Because at some point, the paper is gonna give, right? Something will give the paper, or I don't know what, but you have to kind of stay aware of that. As far as paper goes, just use sketchbook paper. It's completely fine. Just to use that because you want to go through mileage. That's the most important thing. Or you can use this as computer paper, literally right out the printer. You can use that as easily as well if you're just doing practice drawings. For long drawings, if you really want to do long extended drawings, like you want to do like a family portrait, something like that, I would use graphite. I would use forgive me, I forgot the name of the paper. So you can use either kind of cardstock, or you can use Bristol. Thank you. You can use Bristol or a Bristol board. I would use just like regular Bristol. It's basically like cardboard, but you can draw on it. At least the specific Bristol I'm thinking about. But absolutely do that stuff. Get all of these supplies. It's very easy, very cheap. So that was really quick. We had to go through the supply list, so let's move on to kind of the main course. Okay, let's go over really fast how you can use your pencil in general. How do we use this? I've talked about this. I have entire lessons on this. I have an entire beginner course on this. You can go check that on, how to handle like a pen. It's pretty much the exact same thing for a pencil. So I'll just go over a really quick version of it, but I do highly recommend you go check that other version out and the starter. But okay, so quickly, when you're drawing, you draw like this, right? I'm sorry, when you're writing, you write like this. You're writing mostly from the wrist, or mostly from the wrist. That's most of where it comes from, and the fingers mostly. So realistically, you're anchoring your hand with your, the ball of the wrist, and you're doing that. The range of motion is very small. With drawing, it is a much bigger range of motion. We're doing something like this. There's a lot more going on. I'm moving my shoulder, I'm moving my elbow, right? So that is something to remember. You must remember to do that. I guess if you're drawing very small, it's not a big deal, but you're moving a lot more than you're not really anchoring this. So don't try not to do that. Try to, like, you know, use it like you're anchoring it a bit, but you're moving it around as long as you're not smearing something, right? That's something to keep in mind. The other thing is, so if you're doing something like this, right, you're moving. I'm moving a lot. I'm moving at my shoulder right now and kind of engaging my elbow into this as well. So that's something to recall, okay? So that's something to remember. Just, you're gonna get used to it over time. Like I said, go check out those beginner exercises. I talk about it there as well on here. Other than that, I would say I angle things. This is now very pencil specific. So when you're using it, when you're using your pencil, we are either on the tip, right? On the tip of the pencil, like so, or we are on the side of the pencil. Oops, I need to get like more of a, this pencil's not sharp enough. One second. This might be angled enough. So right here, we're on the side of the pencil. And when you do that, it's much bigger. It's a much bigger and much softer stroke, okay? Like if you want to fill something in, you angle, you don't go from here, you angle the pencil. And you are literally filling that in, right? It's so much easier. It covers a bigger range of area. So that's something to remember as well. All of these things will become routine and you'll stop even remotely thinking about it after a while. But yeah, that's mostly the way how to use the pencil. That's kind of how I use it as well. And I would say that's most people's way to use it. So really tip, edge, range of motion, all is to keep in mind, okay? That was very quick. Let's move on to value.